very good morning to you wherever you are. Welcome to Smart Means Business. Today is a Monday here, the 29th of July, 2024. It's always a pleasure to have you join us on Smart 24 TV. You can get us as well, DSTV 372 as well as GoTV 320. Please as well feel free to let us know what your opinions are and what you think. Quite a lot coming in. The undertone for this, we are still talking about institutional integrity, what is happening, who is accountable. Are you accountable? What is happening to Uganda? That is the undertone of this discussion as we go along. My name is Kemcha Doreen, and I'm joined by my colleague, Noah.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Uganda. Good morning, East Africa.
Yes. For all the latest national, regional, as well as international news, you find it here on Smart Means Business. We are live on Smart 24 TV. Now, institutional integrity. Institutional integrity. What comes first? Institutional, that Uganda does not have institutions with integrity, or that there is no integrity in the institutions? Every
institution in Uganda was founded on integrity. But much as Christianity was founded on the Word of God, not everyone in church follows the Word of God.
There are lots of wolves.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's why we have an entire ministry handling ethics and integrity. So integrity in institutions is something that is the most important, but the most neglected and despised.
Yeah.
That's why we fail in institutional integrity.
Is it because this was thought of as something that was individually supposed to be, checked? It is up to you, like your integrity, it is up to you. Was that it per se, that someone said, you know what, I'm going to take this decision, and because it's such a personal thing, you can't question me? Of course, I know there are systems that are supposed to be, monitored and adhered to within these institutions. But when it comes down to such as a big person, your boss within that place, coming down and saying, now, ordering the accountant, do A, B, C, D. I think that's where most personnel in some of these areas find themselves in that predicament.
Do they even understand what integrity is? I think maybe they have forgotten what integrity is.
I don't think it sits very well with them the first time, but normally what happens is they normalize it. The first time, let's talk about that first time. The first time, for example, someone higher up tells you, do this, channel this money here, or, do this funny shady business, and you are in the accounting docket. Recently, yes, the president was talking about warning accounting officers and saying, do the right thing, because at the end of the day, it's your neck on the line. Now, we're also getting into this sort of thing. Of course, you have the shady accountants out there that have come. Their main goal is, let me ever get into this place here. You will see me and my family get enriched. And then you have the other ones who really come in and they are particular, focused, one-dimensional. But then the system within that they have entered is totally different.
There's something, when I got this topic, there's something I kept on thinking about. Something that I kept on thinking about is how over and over, like you're saying, we keep on compromising on the standards of what has to be in terms of integrity in the different offices. But also not only integrity, but also in terms of commitment to what we have to deliver. In the many years, I will give you an example. Let me start this way. By independence, we had 17 districts. Uganda had 17 districts. By 1986, Uganda had 30 districts. That's before NRA assumed power. Right now, we have 140-something districts in Uganda. Imagine in about 40 years how we have divided up the country. Now, I'm not even talking about these districts being...
without even talking about the administrative costs.
Now you see, when you look at that, the assumption was we want to see how we can quicken service delivery to the person, to the people.
Yes, to the last mile person.
Yes, Uganda had regions. Uganda had regions and regional offices. They are still there. But those regional offices had power to implement a number of things. Now we are at the level whereby the regional offices are there. Then we have created these districts and put small gods in there. I will call them small gods because these are unruly people. And I don't think they are closely monitored. For as long as they are given office, they are given power, they operate almost autonomous. You get? Now we have the RDCs there, we have the RCCs. Now we have the assistant, the deputy RDC. We have the assistant deputy RDC.
Yes.
Then
and the deputy.
You get? They're supposed to be reporting to the president. Now we go to the district administration, where we have the cow, we have
the LC5.
plus the politicians.
Yes.
The LC5, now the political side and the administrative side of it. Now, all these people, the havoc we have created for ourselves, the burden of monitoring all these people, the burden of strengthening the district, the region, and the central government. Can we even stomach integrity, intervention in this country with all the havoc we have created?
Yeah.
Because most of these people are very hungry people.
Hungry for what?
For power, hungry for riches, hungry for money. They're the people who are forcing people from other people from their land. Those stories are there.
Not protecting them.
Not protecting them instead. Now, when you talk about integrity in institutions,
yes.
Let's first of all address the institutions that we have. Are we appropriately thinking? Are we, are we considerately thinking of ways how we're creating these institutions?
Okay, assuming that the rationale still is to bring the services closer to the people. Yes, closer and much closer to the people. What do you think would have been done? What would have been the alternative route?
Well, I think we just needed to strengthen the regional blocks.
Instead of cutting down.
Instead of cutting down, and then
you have to go back, put in place the infrastructure, the offices, hire all those people,
all
running.
That we have promoted.
But let me, Noah, this is not the first time. We are here at Smart Means Business, Smart Means Business. We're talking about this, but we are not the first. There was a rally. There was a rally in thought, a rally in action over this quite a number of years back.
Yes.
And people had already started coming out and saying, "What is happening? This is really being. It's just taking the country as if it is your home. You can't do this. Aren't you seeing what we are seeing?
Yes.
Aren't you seeing what we are seeing? Aren't you seeing the wastage of resources?" And I remember some of these sentiments were being directed straight to the top. Yes? And when it comes into play, this has been one of the main causes in which they have said that sometimes the president is at fault and not necessarily the team around him. What do you think?
No, but I think at the end of the day, we sometimes we don't have a choice but to go political. I think the division has worked for the people in government, for the government in power. Yeah. They have managed to manage the political arm of it, but now when it comes to the administrative side,
it's still very
story,
lacking.
It is lacking, and it's not going to change. Trust me, because now we have. It's like biting what you can't chew and swallow. You get. We already had challenges. Yeah. Now we added on more. Some of the challenges that we don't even talk about. Now, let me give an example. I always give my example of my districts because I have been in the east. You are there. But Butaleja was part of Tororo. Tororo has about how many tribes? A number of tribes. They were working together.
With its chaos.
You would find the Munyole is a LC5 chairperson, a Jap is LC5 chairperson.
At one time they were, yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
Now we're divided according to tribes. That's the fact. That's one of the other of a few challenges that we face. But now leave apart that aside. You have created this district, you have created the other district. You need to allocate a budget to all these.
Yeah.
You get monitoring this budget, monitoring the implementation becomes a problem. You add on more personnels who can't
be monitored.
But on assumption that maybe they'll be monitored or they'll be trusted, they reach there, they cause havoc. An RDC in Butaleja arrested my friend for whistleblowing.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Which year?
This guy was hosted here. It's called James Wade. Just last year. He whistleblew on PDM. The irregularities that were happening in PDM.
Yeah.
They arrested him.
And RDC?
We whistleblew. Yes. Assistant RDC, I think. Deputy RDC, I think. Arrested the guy.
And all of them seem to be doing whatever they want.
Exactly. Exactly. So when you talk about institutional integrity, I am looking at a lot of things that we have been missing a point over the years, and yet we are still continuing to do the same things, and we are failing to manage. Because now, if you still have to focus on the ministries, first of all, that have been compromised, yeah,
then you come down.
and then the ministries also are very many. Talk about it. The ministries are so many.
But right now, let's even give them a little bit of credit that because with all the mergers and all this, we've seen what has happened to REA being, put back into it under the Ministry of Energy. And right now, with all the different information circulating out there, I believe there's been a halt in recruitment to enable these RAPEX go out quite well. But before we even get into that, for sure, we've been talking about citizen participation. We all know what happened last week, and the poor turnout. You are calling it successful, but the poor turnout.
It was a big success. I saw an Indian media house breaking down the story.
That's all they could capture. They were looking at the different ways, but looking at all that, it is citizen participation is very key, very, very key in looking at ways in which such behavior can actually be halted. And now we wonder, there was a report that came in 2023 coming in and talking about some of the anti-corruption measures that were taking place or had been forged or put forward in countries in sub-Saharan Africa. And they had highlighted a country like Malawi talking about it. But it is not different from what is happening in Uganda. You're talking about political interference. You're talking about poor monitoring, yes? All those systems. You're talking about especially the citizen participation, the laxity, the tiredness.
Yes.
Why are we tired? Please join us today 9 to 10, between 9 and 10. You will be part of this conversation again and see what exactly is happening. Because if the average Ugandan, the Ugandan, average and above average, whatever it is tired, you know that surely this is going to go on and nothing else will happen. So what can be done when it comes down to all this? Because we know for sure these have been happening. The ineptitude they're talking about, the laxities, the gaps, yes? The building on district after district, even when you know for sure that nothing is down on ground. And then looking at the exorbitant monies that have to be channeled into putting up new infrastructures, looking at some of the districts up there, miserable looking districts, nothing there.
Poor performing districts.
Yes? We're even just talking about when you enter a district, what is there to show vibrancy? What is there to actually show some level of development? Nothing. In some of the districts, nothing. And you're adding further and further more. Because
I'll tell you, when you talk about institutional...
Because someone came and said the Japadola needs a district. Yes? The Japadola needs a district. And then you say, yes, let it be.
Now in our district, one man stood up and tied himself with dry banana leaves and,
Chisanja movement.
And then they set Chisanja on fire there, and the president was like, the president considered the district and it was given. But how much has it done?
How much?
You get. How much has it done apart from selling jobs, apart from breaking people's hearts and all that? And corruption is rampant. I still strongly believe that some of these institutional integrity issue that we are discussing, we needed to strengthen the structures that were there, first of all, to make them fully functional, to make them reliable, you get, instead of, this one is not functional. Because talk about this institutional integrity, you're going to evaluate even the top 3 arms of government. The executive has to be checked. The parliament has to be checked. The judiciary has to be checked. Legislature, and the judiciary, they have to be checked.
True.
All these institutions. Then you come down to these that we are adding, by the power invested
in us. But talking, no.
Basically, institutional integrity. We are not considering it as something that is important. You get?
Yeah.
Now we are quarreling and we are abusing each other.
But where were you? Where were you during that time? Weren't you you weren't crying out loud enough? By the way, let me be honest with you.
Why
didn't you cry out loud enough?
Let me be honest with you. The voice you hear from me, from my diaphragm right now, and the words that come from my mind right now, they are the same words I've said over and over. Me, I disagreed with the issue of giving us a district. I didn't find reason for it. I disagreed with the districts that have been given over and over. You get?
Yeah.
We have talked about these things over and over. And it's a fact. It's a fact.
One lonely voice is not enough to raise a lot of
But you see now,
dust.
if I talk to Doreen and Doreen fails to confirm,
to add,
you know,
to add, to strengthen that voice. Can you be a little bit louder? Can you really support? No, are you ever?
Now where we have reached, we are now quarreling. You know, the other day I was on X, and the Gen Zs and the other young people were busy,
saying we've let them down.
Insulting the head of state on X.
True.
When he said, the president calls young people his grandchildren.
Yes, and they were saying we are not.
And this has been quite an attachment. But now if the attachment, it has been that thing that brings them together. But you see, if that statement is not showing results, like being in love, but the love has no actions, it gets very choking. So a number of young people are coming out and saying, no, you're not my grandfather.
Yeah.
You're not. Because he has failed somehow, somewhere, to respond to some of the needs that are there. So, evaluate institutional integrity, evaluate things at stake, talk about these things.
Talk about them and then move on next. What next?
What next?
Yes. Here we are very keen, by the way, Smart 24 TV. We are very keen on what is the way forward. What happens when the excitement goes down? What happens the moment all these different conversations have been had? What next? What next from there? But before we get into that, we will be talking about this with Noah all throughout until 9. But for now, let's take a short break and we will be right back after this message.
Smart 24, driving business.
MTN! Hektusako Hajaruna Mbiru live in concert Friday nga mwende August. Hajaruna Mbiru huyo!